This video is about the American Constitution and the Bill of Rights. The US Constitution dates back to the year 1787 and the Bill of Rights to the year 1789. Massively involved were the Founding Fathers, especially John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and George Washington. The United States just gained their independence from Great Britain and were united in a loose confederation with a rather weak central government. The 13 states were divided into those who thought we must have a strong central government and those who had the opinion the most important entity of this confederation is the single state. But in all states it was clear we want to be a republic. Now, as mentioned, American Revolution, and on the 4th of July 1776, Declaration of Independence, the United States were born. In 1777, the Continental Congress convened and passed the Articles of Confederation. The United States were now a loose confederation with a relatively weak government. By 1781, all of the 13 states had ratified the Articles of Confederation. The states sent delegates to a convention, the Constitutional Convention, and the aim was to improve the Articles of Confederation. But the delegates actually wanted to go further and write a constitution. They did so, and on the 17th of September 1787, the US Constitution was passed. A few months later, all states had ratified the Constitution, and the first US Congress could convene on the 4th of March 1789. A few weeks later, it was then the inauguration of the first president, and that was George Washington. Now, what is in the Constitution? What is the US Constitution? It defines the political system of the United States. And it's easier to understand in a graphic. So, the basis of all is the electorate, the US citizens. Then we have on one side the states with state parliaments, governors, and state courts. But now to the federal level. The citizens elect the Congress, so the parliament, and the Electoral College. The Electoral College then elects the president, who announces the judges of the Supreme Court. They need to be approved by Congress. The Congress passes the laws, the president can veto these laws, and the Supreme Court, of course, can say, yeah, right, they're not in line with the Constitution. The president has his cabinet, is supreme commander of the US forces, and his own office. Congress controls cabinet and US forces. And here you can see one of the main principles of the US Constitution, checks and balances. With this Constitution, actually earlier with the Constitutional Convention, we have the conflict of federalists and anti-federalists. Some want a strong central government, some a strong single state. And then as a compromise, the Congress passed 12 amendments to the Constitution. 10 of these were ratified by the states. And these first 10 amendments to the Constitution are called Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights states, in the US, there is freedom of religion, speech, and press. Americans have the right to keep and bear arms, and the restriction of quartering soldiers in private houses. The amendments 4 to 8, referring to judicial proceedings, they protect US citizens against a too powerful, against a too strong state. Amendment 9 says or clarifies this is not an exhausting list. Amendment 10 reinforced the principle of separation of powers between central government and states. The Constitution made the United States capable of acting as a nation-state. It was a precondition to the expansion of the US, especially territorial expansion, and the international ascent to a global superpower. The Bill of Rights. Initially, the Bill of Rights had no influence or near to none influence on US jurisdiction. But in the 20th century, the Supreme Court took the Bill of Rights as a basis for several decisions. One example, during the 70s, the death penalty was abandoned temporarily, and that is because of the 8th Amendment, no cruel and unusual punishments. That was the US Constitution and the Bill of Rights in 5.